Let's take a sad flashback to my 2022 preseason predictions. In last place, I have the Guardians. If they trade Jose Ramirez, this will be a really sad offense. They did basically nothing over the offseason. They have a few stars, but not enough to compete. I have them dropping from 80 wins to 73. So, I like my logic, but I can't deny the end result was dead wrong. I thought the AL Central was going to be a strong division this year. Turns out it was the weakest. No thanks to the White Sox. No thanks to the Tigers. This division was a battle all year between the Twins and the Guardians. They were hanging around all year, playing right around 500 ball, within a few games of the Twins. Then, on August 10th, they took first place and never looked back. Going into August 6th, they were 54-52. Since then, they've won 35 and lost 16. Suddenly, they have a double-digit lead in the Central and they're going to the playoffs. So, why was I so wrong about this team? They had a great run from 2016 to 2020, winning at least 90 games every year, and on pace to win 94 games in 2020. It was a small sample size, but that offense was third to last in the league in runs in 2020, but they were fueled by their number one pitching staff. They traded away Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco, bringing back a couple minor leaguers, and young major leaguers Amed Rosario and Andres Jimenez. The offense got better from 2020, but compared to their last full season in 2019, they were down 52 runs, or 4.74 runs per game to 4.42. That great pitching staff also went from number 1 to number 10 in ERA, 3.29 to 4.34. A big part of that was only having Shane Bieber for a half a season. This was the 2020 Cy Young and Triple Crown winner. They only won 80 games, their worst season since 2012, and you would think they would have to do something to improve. Their two big moves were to sign catchers Sandy Leon and Luke Maile. This did not seem like the offseason for a sub-500 team trying to make a play at the division title. This division was getting a lot better around them. The Twins got Sonny Gray, Chris Archer, and Carlos Correa. The Tigers got Eduardo Rodriguez, Andrew Chafin, and Javier Baez. The White Sox dominated this division last year, and they brought in Kendall Graveman, Joe Kelly, and AJ Pollock. The Guardians basically did nothing. There was even serious discussion about trading Jose Ramirez before the season. That would have been the white flag. The Guardians are not trying to win in the short term. But they kept him, signed him to a 5-year, $124 million deal. And with the third lowest payroll in baseball, they were going to bank on their young stars to come of age and be contenders. And when I say young stars, I mean this team is the youngest in all of baseball. Their batter's average age is 25.9, pitchers 26.3, and that's not only the youngest in all the majors, it's the youngest even if you throw in all the AAA teams. Only Luke Maile and Brian Shaw are on the current roster and in their 30s. The last team that was the youngest in the league and also made the playoffs was the 1986 Mets. That was a great team, but it was still 36 years ago, and in the history of baseball, it's only happened 7 other times. But on September 25th, the Guardians became the 8th team to do it. So, how did they do it? Have they been amazing on offense? No, not really. They were 9th last year with 717 runs, 4.4 runs per game. And this year, they're 7th, but they're scoring less, 4.3 runs per game. Jose Ramirez has been a lot more productive driving in runs this year, but his home runs and OPS are down, with his average and OPS plus being slightly up. There are some great stories on this team offensively, starting with rookie Stephen Kwan. He made headlines for seeing 116 pitches before swinging and missing, the longest streak to start a career since 2000. He put in a full season, walked more than he struck out. He's hitting over 300, 19 steals, 778 OPS. Oscar Gonzalez is also seeing his first big league action this year, and all he's doing is batting .289, 780 OPS, 11 homers in just 86 games. Andres Jimenez was part of that Lindor trade, and this year he made the All-Star team. 303 average, 17 homers, 19 steals, 851 OPS. Amed Rosario was the other piece in that trade, and he's having almost a carbon copy season from last year. 282 average, 11 homers, 17 steals, 718 OPS. Josh Naylor has come up with some big time moments this year. I was curious to see where he ranked in baseball with the clutch stat, and he's 17th with 1.29. But to my surprise, Andres Jimenez is all the way up at 5th with 1.89. They were also missing the production of Cesar Hernandez and Eddie Rosario, guys they traded away mid-season last year. Miles Straw is a much weaker hitter than he was last year, and Franmil Reyes had 30 homers and an 846 OPS last year, and this year he was DFA'd in August, playing 70 games, hitting 9 homers, and only having a 603 OPS. This is not a power team. Their 124 homers is second to last, only ahead of the Tigers who have a historically bad offense. but they are 4th in batting average, 6th in on base, and 2nd in stolen bases. Only the Rangers have more in the AL. They can't get the ball out of the park, but they are 2nd in the league in triples. Nobody else in the majors has struck out fewer times than Cleveland. The Astros are 2nd, but they're 60 strikeouts ahead of the Guardians. They found a way to make their offense work with what they have, but their success is coming from their pitching. They aren't as good as the 3.29 ERA from 2020. That was a league best, but they've brought their 2021 ERA down almost a full run, 4th in the league at 3.48. Getting Shane Bieber back was a huge factor. He's started 30 games and has a 2.91 ERA, but he's not the only reason. How about Tristan McKenzie? His ERA was pushing 5 last year. This year, he's at 2.99 over 186 innings. Cal Quantrill is getting a shot at being a full-time starter, and even though his ERA is up half a run, he's been solid and has a team-high 14 wins against just 5 losses. The starting staff has lowered their overall ERA from 4.84 to 3.77, more than a full run. In the bullpen, Emmanuel Clase is just as amazing as he was last year, 40 saves and a 1.40 ERA. They've gotten help from the rest of the pen also, especially Trevor Stefan and Sam Hentges. These guys had a respective ERA of 4.41 and 6.68, and this year they've seen more action and both have an ERA under 3. Eniel De Los Santos is also in his first year with the team, and over 48 games, he's also got an ERA under 3. Up to this point, his career best ERA was 4.74. The bullpen, as a whole, has lowered their ERA from 3.64 to 3.02. This Guardians team hasn't done it with smoke and mirrors. Their Pythagorean win-loss record is only a few games behind their actual record, so they may be getting a bit lucky, but nothing crazy. Not like the 2021 Mariners, who had 90 wins and a negative run differential. They have been excellent in the close games. 28-17 in games decided by 1 run, 13-5 in extra innings. That's a team with a good bullpen, and they lock it down. This team is only getting better, finishing 21-8 in September, and a team built on contact, speed, good starting pitching, and a great bullpen. That is a dangerous team in the playoffs, and we'll get to see them in action this year, a year that not many people thought they'd get there. Before the season, the Guardians were plus 1,200 to win the Central, well behind the White Sox and the Twins. I do give credit to Foolish Baseball. He said the Guardians were a playoff team this year, and I thought that was a bold pick, but that's why he is who he is. He gets baseball, apparently better than me. That's all for the 2022 Cleveland Guardians, at least in the regular season. They're going to start their playoff run this weekend, and after looking into how this team wins, I am really intrigued to see if they have a run in them. They may not have the strongest record, they may not be coming out of the best division, but they have a great manager and a great game plan. It's going to be interesting to see how they fare this October. If you have any thoughts on the Guardians, or anything to add, sound off in the comments below. I also want to apologize for my voice in this video, or lack thereof. I tried my best, so thanks for bearing with me. Before you leave, be sure to drop a like. And if you're new here and love baseball content, please give me a sub, I'd appreciate it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.